No one truly knows when the world first began, for it was a time lost to memory, unmarked by any written word. In the dawn of days, men had not yet learned the art of writing, and what we do know from that distant age is scarce, scattered across the oldest of texts. The Andals, Valyrians, Giscari, and the mysterious people of fabled Ashai have all left behind their tales, but even these ancient civilizations were not yet born in the Dawn Age. Their stories, though ancient, are filled with mystery and myth, and finding the truth within them is like searching for a single seed buried deep within the chaff.
As I stood there, lost and far from the safety of my brothers, the cold winds of the north biting at my face, I felt the weight of the silence around me. The trees loomed tall and thick, but it wasn't the forest that made my heart quicken. It was the figures emerging from the gloom. They were twice my height, towering like ancient gods. Each step they took sent a tremor through the earth. My breath caught in my throat as my mind raced back to the tales I'd been told since I was a boy. The wet nurses had spoken of them. Giants. Massive men, they said, who lived in castles of stone, wielding swords large enough to cleave a horse in two, wearing boots that shook the ground as they walked. Some claimed they feasted on human flesh, breaking their fast with a grisly mix of blood and bone. As a child, I'd shuddered at those stories, but I had dismissed them as nursery tales meant to frighten. But now, seeing them with my own eyes, I wasn't sure what to believe. The maesters had written of them too, though their accounts were colder, stripped of the wonder and fear that clung to the wet nurse's words. To the maesters, the giants were nothing more than simple creatures, covered in fur with squashed faces and tiny eyes. They made no homes, no garments, no weapons save for branches ripped from trees. The giants were not kings of great halls or feasts, but wild things, wandering without purpose. The rangers of the Night's Watch had their own stories. Those who ventured far north had whispered of them. The old men of the Watch spoke of their furred bodies and the strange way they moved, smelling more than they saw, like beasts more than men. They were ancient, older than men, older than memory, and they roamed the land like shadows from a forgotten age, and now they were here, before me. They came closer, their heavy breath visible in the cold air. My hand went to the hilt of my sword, but what good would it do? I was no more than a twig before these giants, and my blade, small as it was, would do little more than anger them. I thought of my brothers, far behind me, unaware of what I now faced. I thought of the maesters and their books, of the wet nurses and their terrifying stories. Were they all wrong? Or were they all right in their own way? My heart pounded. Was this the moment they had warned us of? Was this to be my last day, lost and alone in the wilderness, faced with creatures that shouldn't exist outside of stories? I swallowed hard, tasting fear as it crept up my throat. I stood frozen as they came closer still, wondering if the last thing I'd ever see would be the face of a giant, and if the last sound I'd ever hear would be the thunder of their steps as they crushed the life out of me. This was no nursery tale. This was real. And I was about to find out what kind of truth lay behind the legends.
If you like this content, like and subscribe for more.